Imagine chasing something so priceless you'd betray everyone you love for it, only to find, in the end, it was made of lead. That's the heart of Dashiell Hammett's The Maltese Falcon, a story where truth and greed wear the same suit, and every smile hides a blade. First published in 1930, The Maltese Falcon didn't just change detective fiction, it invented a whole new moral language for it. Hammett, who once worked as a Pinkerton detective, brought to literature what he'd seen in the alleys and offices of real America: corruption that smiled politely, and decency that hid behind cynicism. This was no drawing room mystery with polite clues, it was the modern world cracking open. Hammett himself was a fascinating contradiction, part working-class realist, part literary craftsman. Before becoming a writer, he chased thieves, guarded railroads, and spied on union organizers for hire. Then he turned that experience into art, writing for Black Mask magazine and revolutionizing the genre with prose as hard as brass and as precise as a revolver click. Later, his novels like Red Harvest, The Glass Key, and of course, The Maltese Falcon cemented his place among America's greatest storytellers. While The Maltese Falcon didn't win a major award upon release, it earned something rarer: immortality. The book has been continuously in print for nearly a century, adapted into 3 films, and in 1998, the Modern Library ranked it among the 100 best English-language novels of the 20th century. Its dialogue shaped an entire cinematic vocabulary, its rhythm still echoing in every smoky noir ever since. And then there's this line, short, sharp, and cold as the barrel of a gun. He looked rather pleasantly like a blonde Satan. That's Hammett's art in a single sentence: moral judgment disguised as style. So if you love stories where morality isn't black and white, but 50 shades of cigarette smoke, stay with me. Grab a coffee, maybe a raincoat, and let's walk into the fog together. You're watching Echoes of Books, where literature breathes, argues, and still surprises us. If you enjoy this journey, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, or even buy me a cup of coffee through the link below. Every bit helps keep these echoes alive. Smoke, lies, and the black bird. It begins, as the best mysteries often do, with a woman and a lie. She calls herself Miss Wonderly, though that name, like everything about her, is a fiction. She walks into the office of Sam Spade and Miles Archer, private detectives in San Francisco. It's 1930. The city is caught between jazz and despair, a place where the Great Depression hasn't yet killed the glamour, but has already poisoned the soul. Miss Wonderly says she's looking for her sister, who's run away with a dangerous man. She looks nervous, fragile, the kind of woman you want to protect, or at least believe. But by nightfall, Archer is shot dead in an alley, and Spade's world fractures like a cracked mirror. From there, the story spirals fast. Spade barely has time to light another cigarette before the police are at his door, suspicion heavy in the room. His partner's widow, Iva Archer, insists she was having an affair with Spade, which is true, though not the whole truth. Hammett's San Francisco is that kind of place. Nobody lies completely. They just edit the facts to fit their survival. Soon, the woman reappears, no longer Miss Wonderly, but Brigid O'Shaughnessy, a name as slippery as her smile. She admits there was no missing sister. What she's really after is something far more valuable, a small black statuette shaped like a falcon, said to be covered in precious jewels beneath layers of enamel. A treasure stolen, lost, and whispered about across centuries. Spade doesn't buy the story, But he's intrigued. That's his curse, curiosity. He's not the kind of man who believes in innocence, but he still wants to see what happens when you scratch the paint off a lie. The next day, another stranger walks into Spade's office, a dapper, nervous man named Joel Cairo, who smells faintly of perfume and carries a small revolver. He offers Spade $5,000 to retrieve the Falcon and punctuates the offer by pulling the gun on him. Spade disarms him calmly, like swatting away a fly, and pours them both a drink. By now, the Falcon has become more than a mystery. It's a gravitational force pulling everyone into its orbit: Brigid, Cairo, and soon, the most memorable of them all, Casper Gutman. Gutman is huge, courteous, and utterly terrifying. A gentleman criminal with a vocabulary as rich as his appetite. He speaks of history, of knights and emperors, of the priceless falcon once gifted by the Knights of Malta to the King of Spain, and how it vanished into legend. His laugh fills the room like cigar smoke. Around him hovers a thin, hot-tempered boy named Wilmer, his bodyguard and errand man, with the shaky confidence of someone who's killed before. Spade is caught in the middle, but he plays it cool. That's his art. He navigates double crosses, night chases, hotel room negotiations. He's beaten, drugged, lied to, and still manages to turn the game around, making everyone think he's on their side, until the moment he isn't. When the long-sought Falcon finally appears, wrapped in brown paper, the tension breaks like thunder. Gutman, Cairo, and Brigid lean forward as Spade peels the wrapping away. The statue gleams black and solid in the lamplight, the thing they've all killed and betrayed for. Then Spade scrapes the surface with his knife. Beneath the paint, there's nothing. No jewels, no gold, just lead. For a moment, no one speaks. Gutman lets out a slow, almost admiring sigh. "It's a fake," he says quietly, as if confessing to God. And that's when the beauty of Hammett's story lands. Not in the reveal of who did it, but in what all of them have done to themselves, chasing something that was never real. Gutman leaves to keep searching. Cairo follows. Wilmer disappears into the fog, but Brigid stays, her lies spent, her mask slipping. She tells Spade she loves him. She promises she can change. She even believes it. For a second, Spade listens, his face unreadable. He kisses her once, maybe out of pity, maybe out of something darker. Then he tells her he's sending her to the police for Archer's murder. Not because he's noble, he's not, but because, as he says, when a man's partner is killed, he's supposed to do something about it. Brigid begs him to understand, to make an exception. He shakes his head. "I won't play the sap for you." It's one of the coldest, truest lines in all of noir fiction. Love meeting justice, and both losing. The police take her away at dawn. Spade stands by the window, the city waking below him. The Falcon, the fake, the nothing, sits heavy on his desk. Outside, a streetcar bell rings. The rain has stopped, but the streets still shine. That's how Hammett ends it, not with justice served, but with a man left standing alone, trying to hold on to a code in a world where even honesty feels counterfeit. The architecture of lies. If you think the Maltese Falcon is just a detective story, you're missing the quiet trick Dashiell Hammett pulls in the dark. It's not about solving a crime, it's about surviving a system and where truth has lost all currency. Hammett builds the book like a hall of mirrors. Every scene looks like it's revealing something new, but each revelation just rearranges the shadows. When Miss Wonderly becomes Brigid O'Shaughnessy, when trust turns into threat, when even the Falcon itself turns out to be a forgery, the novel is teaching us a rule in this world. Honesty is just another disguise. That's Hammett's genius. His narrative doesn't unfold, it coils. There are no long reflections, no internal monologues to guide you. The narration sits outside the characters, describing gestures, cigarettes, the tilt of a smile, the surface of the scene. Readers are forced to become detectives themselves, piecing together motives from fragments of conversation and the twitch of a hand. Take one of the opening exchanges between Spade and Brigid. She tells him, "I've been bad, worse than you could know, but I'm not all bad." Spade doesn't flinch. He replies, "You're good. You're very good." It's not a compliment. It's recognition. Predator acknowledging predator. Hammett's dialogue does double work. It moves the plot while revealing that in this city, words are weapons, and tone is the trigger. The entire structure of the novel depends on this architecture of deception. Each lie builds upon the last until the truth becomes irrelevant. What matters is who controls the story. In a sense, the Maltese Falcon isn't a mystery at all. It's a manual on narrative manipulation. Everyone is a storyteller trying to survive by editing reality. Hammett's real revolution wasn't just in what he wrote, but how he wrote it. His sentences are stripped down to bone, no ornaments, no psychology, no moral commentary. The effect is electric. He hands the reader a flashlight, not a lecture. Every detail becomes a clue, every silence a possible confession. And those silences, they're where the novel breathes. When Spade sits in his office after a double cross, staring through cigarette smoke, Hammett doesn't tell us what he feels. He lets the absence speak. It's that restraint that creates tension, the sense that beneath the calm exterior lies something furious and wounded. That restraint also mirrors the city itself. San Francisco in Hammett's hands is alive but unknowable. We're always inside rooms with closed blinds and cheap hotels, shadowy corridors. The outside world barely exists. It's the inner fog that matters. Every setting is a metaphor for concealment, an office door that never stays shut, a hotel room filled with false names, a fog that hides both danger and escape. Hammett once said he wanted to take murder out of the drawing room and put it back in the alley. But what he really did was take morality out of abstraction and put it back in the body, in the twitch of a jaw, the chill of a handshake, the unreadable eyes of a man deciding whether to tell the truth or not. You can feel the rhythm of deception in the pacing itself. The novel alternates between stillness and explosion, quiet conversations that suddenly crack into violence. Each calm scene feels like the breath before a gunshot. The architecture of lies isn't just thematic, it's rhythmic. It keeps the reader perpetually off balance, the way Spade must feel walking through a city where every truth is counterfeit. Even the object at the story's center, that elusive falcon, is a lie carved in metal. Its value exists only in the stories told about it. For 300 pages, everyone acts as if it's real because they need it to be. And when it turns out to be worthless, the silence that follows is almost biblical. It's not just a twist, it's a revelation about the human condition. We build our lives around things that shimmer, only to find they're painted over with desire. So when Hammett closes his novel with Spade standing alone, we realize the case was never about a murder or a treasure. It was about a man trying to stay upright in a world where the ground keeps shifting. Spade isn't chasing truth, he's testing its weight. Sam Spade's code, integrity in a broken system. In the pantheon of literary detectives, Sam Spade stands apart. He isn't romantic like Sherlock Holmes, nor world-weary like Chandler's Philip Marlowe. He's colder, quieter, and somehow more human for it. What makes him fascinating isn't his brilliance, but his moral geometry, the private compass he keeps turning north, even when the map burns in his hand. From the first chapter, Spade lives by a code so personal it seems almost self-invented. He lies, seduces, manipulates, and yet there's a grim logic to everything he does. The reader senses a man who doesn't trust laws because he's seen who writes them. The police are corrupt, clients are liars, and even friendship can be a form of leverage. All Spade can trust is his craft, the discipline of staying alert, detached, and decisive. Hammett once said that Spade was the kind of detective he would have liked to be if he'd been one not hampered by a sense of morality. But that's only half true. Spade does have morality. It's just stripped of idealism. In the wreckage of a dishonest world, he practices what might be called pragmatic integrity. When Brigid kills his partner, Spade could run away with her. He could forgive her, rationalize her crime, or pretend love redeems betrayal. Instead, he turns her in. Not because he enjoys it, but because the rule demands it. When a man's partner is killed, he's supposed to do something about it. Spade tells her. That line lands like a verdict, but beneath its hardness is a wound. You can almost hear the loneliness behind it, the exhaustion of someone who still believes in consequences when everyone else has given up. Hammett's own life echoes through that moment. Before writing, he worked for the Pinkerton National Detective Agency, and he saw firsthand the rot beneath American law enforcement. He investigated union strikes, thefts, and murders, often on the side of corporations rather than justice. The experience left him cynical but also clear-eyed. He learned that codes are personal, not institutional. They're what you cling to when the system stops making sense. That realism seeps into Spade's manner. He rarely moralizes. Instead, he treats ethics like tactics. His silence becomes a weapon. His detachment isn't apathy, it's armor. Watch how he talks to the police. Calm, almost mocking, never defensive. He knows the moment you show emotion, they own you. There's a scene midway through the novel where Spade and Lieutenant Dundee circle each other verbally. Dundee accuses him of murder, and Spade responds, "If you think I killed him, tell me to my face. But don't play me with half-truths." That line captures everything about Spade's world. He'll tolerate violence, deceit, even betrayal, but not hypocrisy. The one sin he can't stand is pretending to be righteous. In a strange way, that makes him almost heroic. In the moral desert of Hammett's San Francisco, where everyone sells something, affection, information, loyalty, Spade's refusal to sell himself becomes a kind of integrity. It's not noble, but it's clean. And that cleanliness feels revolutionary in a story soaked with lies. Some critics have called Spade immoral, but that misses the nuance. He's not without morality. He's simply realistic about what survives in a compromised world. His principles are born from skepticism, not faith. Like a craftsman who knows the weight of every tool, Spade measures right and wrong by outcome, not by sentiment. When he tells Brigid, "I won't play the sap for you," he's defending more than pride. He's defending the last uncorrupted thing he owns, his ability to choose his own line and stand by it. That defiance made Spade a prototype for a new American archetype, the self-governing individual who lives by personal law. After Hammett, every noir detective carried a bit of Spade's DNA, the toughness, the sarcasm, the tragic awareness that integrity has a price. In film, Bogart would give that code a face, the cigarette, the slanted grin, the voice that says, "I know it's all rotten, but I'll keep walking anyway." And yet, there's something tragic about Spade's integrity. By the novel's end, it isolates him completely. When he sends Brigid to prison, he wins the moral argument but loses the human one. Hammett doesn't celebrate his victory. He leaves him standing in silence, cigarette smoke curling in the morning light, a man who has done the right thing and gained nothing from it. That final image captures Hammett's worldview better than any speech could. The world doesn't reward virtue, it only tests it. But for Spade, and for Hammett, the test itself is the point. To keep one's code intact in a dishonest universe is the closest thing to salvation noir will allow. The Falcon as the false Grail. Every great story hides a symbol that outgrows its own plot. In the Maltese Falcon, that symbol is a black bird, heavy, smooth, and glittering with myth. To the people chasing it, it promises wealth, power, maybe even redemption. But when the paint is scraped away, what's left is nothing. Just lead. Just wait. That moment, when the truth of the Falcon is revealed, is more than a plot twist. It's a revelation about the human condition. The Falcon is the modern Grail, but inverted. In the old legends, the Holy Grail represents divine grace, the reward for purity and faith. Hammett takes that idea and flips it. His Grail is counterfeit. The people who seek it are sinners, not saints. The quest doesn't purify them, it consumes them. Caspar Gutman speaks of the Falcon with religious awe. He tells Spade, "It is history, it is art, it is the greatest treasure of them all." But the way he says it, with that slow, oily delight, turns reverence into greed. For Gutman, the Falcon isn't holy, it's transactional. He wants it because others do. It's a perfect mirror of capitalism itself, value created entirely by belief. Joel Cairo, the perfumed opportunist, approaches the bird as if it's a ticket out of insignificance. For him, possession means validation. Brigid O'Shaughnessy sees it as survival, the one thing that might buy her freedom. Each of them projects something different onto it: status, safety, identity. But none of them ever see the thing itself. And Spade? He wants the Falcon, too, though he pretends otherwise. Not for the money, but for the puzzle. He's drawn to it because it exposes what people are made of. The Falcon is his crucible. Through it, he can measure loyalty, deceit, and the cost of a human soul. When the fake is revealed, Spade doesn't rage or mourn. He simply says, "It's the stuff that dreams are made of." The line is famous, often misquoted, sometimes misunderstood. It sounds romantic until you realize how devastating it is. Those dreams of wealth, control, meaning, are illusions we build to justify the mess we make chasing them. The Falcon, then, becomes a kind of dark mirror. What we worship reveals what we lack. In a broader sense, the Falcon is America's dream, cast in metal. Think about the timing, 1930, the Great Depression. The crash had just shattered the illusion of endless prosperity. People were realizing that the glittering promise of the American dream, hard work, success, moral reward, might also be made of lead. Hammett, who had lived through that disillusionment, turned it into art. His Falcon isn't just a symbol of greed, it's the weight of failed belief. Thematically, it also ties back to Hammett's own biography. He had seen real treasure hunts in his detective days, not for statues, but for secrets, blackmail, leverage. He understood how easily ideals turn into commodities. His own political journey, from corporate spy to socialist activist to blacklisted writer, reads like a man scraping the enamel off one false falcon after another. What makes the symbol endure is its elasticity. In different eras, readers have seen the falcon as money, love, faith, fame, or even art itself, something you pour your life into, only to discover it's hollow. That universality is why the novel still resonates. We all chase a falcon of our own making. Hammett's great trick is that he never lets the object lose its glamour, even after the reveal. It remains mysterious, desirable, mythic, because the truth about illusions is that we need them. If the falcon were simply worthless, the story would end in despair. Instead, it ends in recognition. The pursuit gives the characters meaning, even if the prize doesn't. The writer Raymond Chandler once said that Hammett gave murder back to the kind of people that commit it for reasons, not just for plot. In The Maltese Falcon, Hammett gave greed back to the people who dream with it. He made the pursuit of illusion feel painfully human. So when the final scene fades, Spade alone, the fake falcon heavy on his desk, the question isn't why the treasure was false. It's why he keeps it. Maybe because he understands what Gutman and Brigid never did. The falcon's emptiness is the truth. And knowing that truth, even when it hurts, is its own kind of wealth. Gender and Performance, Brigid's Mask. If The Maltese Falcon is a story about deception, then Brigid O'Shaughnessy is its purest artist. Every gesture, every tear, every tremor in her voice is a line in the play she writes for survival. To some readers, she's the archetypal femme fatale, beautiful, manipulative, deadly. But look closer, and she's something far more complex. A woman rehearsing sincerity in a world that never believes her anyway. When Brigid first appears as Miss Wonderly, her lie is convincing not because it's clever, but because it's emotional. She knows that vulnerability is the only currency she has. She trembles, she pleads, she plays the role society allows, the fragile woman needing protection. But it's performance as necessity, not vanity. In Hammett's 1930s world, power belongs to men with guns and words. Brigid's power lies in her ability to speak the language they expect and twist it to her favor. Hammett never tells us where she came from, but her accent shifts, her stories contradict, and every version of her life sounds rehearsed. That's the brilliance of her construction. She's a human echo, reflecting whatever her listener wants to hear. When Spade challenges her, she doesn't deny the lie, she pivots. "I've been bad," she admits. "Worse than you could know, but I'm not all bad." That line isn't confession, it's negotiation. She's offering him a new story, one where he can save her. Feminist critics have long argued that Brigid's deceit isn't villainy, but adaptation. In the noir universe, truth is a privilege reserved for those who can afford to be honest. Brigid can't. She lies because the truth would leave her defenseless. Even the act of naming herself, Miss Wonderly, Miss LeBlanc, Brigid O'Shaughnessy, becomes an act of authorship, a refusal to let the world define her once and for all. And yet, Hammett punishes her for it. When Spade turns her over to the police, his decision is framed as justice, but it's also a restoration of patriarchal order. The man reclaims moral authority, and the woman who dared to manipulate it is silenced. Still, there's something tragic about that ending. When Brigid begs Spade to let her go, it isn't just fear in her voice, it's exhaustion. She's tired of pretending, tired of performance. For a moment, she drops the act, and in that brief honesty, She's finally real. Hammett doesn't reward her, but he does immortalize her. Unlike the cardboard femmes fatales of lesser pulp, Brigid remains alive on the page because she's unreadable. Every time you think you've seen through her, she slips away again. She's the embodiment of ambiguity, the emotional mirror of the Falcon itself. Both are objects of desire that refuse to reveal what they truly are. Film adaptations have shaped her legacy too. In John Huston's 1941 version, Mary Astor plays Brigid with exquisite precision, polite smile, one trembling voice, eyes that never stop calculating. You can see the layers of her lie in real time. Bogart's Spade may hold the frame, but it's Brigid who makes it human. Their chemistry is electric because they recognize each other. They're both actors in the same play, pretending to be something they're not, each testing how long the other will stay in character. In a broader cultural sense, Brigid marks a turning point in how women were portrayed in popular fiction. Before Hammett, women in detective stories were either victims or saints. Brigid is neither. She's dangerous, but not because she wants power, because she wants freedom. And in 1930, that was scandal enough. From a modern perspective, her manipulation reads differently. Today, we can see her not just as the deceiver, but as the deceived, a woman who's learned too well that survival requires performance. The real tragedy isn't that she lies, it's that she was never allowed to be honest in the first place. So when Spade tells her, "You're good. You're very good," it's not condemnation, it's recognition. He sees the professional in her. In another world, they might have been partners, equals. But in Hammett's San Francisco, there's no space for that possibility. The detective and the liar orbit each other like twin planets, bound by attraction, doomed by difference. When she's led away at the end, she disappears from the story without ceremony. The Falcon remains. The men continue their chase, but if you listen closely, you can still hear her voice, that soft tremor between truth and invention, echoing through every noir that followed. Because in the end, Brigid O'Shaughnessy isn't just a character, she's a question. How do you survive a world that only believes in your weakness? Style as philosophy, the poetry of toughness. There's a peculiar beauty in Dashiell Hammett's prose, the kind that doesn't announce itself with flourish but sneaks up on you, sentence by sentence. His writing is dry, precise, almost surgical, and yet it vibrates with tension. Beneath that clipped rhythm beats a moral intelligence so sharp it cuts through the smoke. When Hammett wrote The Maltese Falcon, he stripped away the ornaments of Victorian narration, no omniscient morality, no sentimental interiority, no lyrical detours. What remained was the raw syntax of survival. His sentences behave the way his characters do, brief, guarded, self-contained. The style itself becomes a philosophy, honesty through omission. Listen to the way Spade speaks. He rarely wastes words. His sentences are short, declarative, often ironic. When he tells Brigid, "You'll take it and like it," the line lands like a gavel. It's not cruelty, it's rhythm. In Hammett's world, language is control. The person who speaks least owns the silence. This economy of language isn't minimalism for its own sake, it's realism. Hammett understood that in the streets. People don't have time for poetry. They say only what they must, and what they don't say matters more. By writing dialogue that feels overheard rather than composed, he gave fiction a new kind of authenticity. Hemingway would take that rhythm and polish it. Chandler would take it and romanticize it. But Hammett did it first, and he did it like a craftsman, without vanity. The narration mirrors that same restraint. Hammett almost never tells us what Spade thinks. Instead, he describes what Spade does. The cigarette tilted just so, the narrowing of his eyes, the slow turn of his wrist when he lights a match. Those details force readers to participate, to interpret gesture as motive. It's literature that doesn't explain itself, and that's why it feels alive. Every paragraph is a lesson in rhythm. Long stretches of dialogue are punctuated by a single physical action: a drink poured, a chair creaking, a door closing. The pacing feels like jazz, improvisational but never chaotic, emotional but measured. There's swing in the way Hammett alternates stillness with impact. Calm, then violence, silence, then a single word that detonates like a gunshot. Even his metaphors are precise tools. When he describes Spade as looking rather pleasantly like a blonde Satan, it's not just a portrait, it's a thesis. The juxtaposition of pleasantly and Satan sums up the entire moral tone of the novel. Charm overlaying damnation. In that one phrase, Hammett sketches the whole paradox of modern ethics, how civility and cruelty can share the same face. But what makes his style enduring isn't just its grit, it's its clarity. Hammett's prose doesn't seduce, it exposes. There's a sense that each word has been weighed for truth, like evidence laid out on a table. The result is a kind of literary honesty that feels radical even today. He doesn't give us wisdom through aphorisms or sermons. He gives it through texture, through the precision of what's left out. When Spade refuses to explain himself, Hammett is making a point about life itself. Motives are messy, language is limited, and the truth, the real truth, never fits neatly into sentences. That restraint becomes moral. To speak too much would be to lie. This is why Hammett's prose influenced not just crime fiction, but modernist writing itself. You can trace his rhythm in Hemingway's short stories, in Joan Didion's essay, Cadences, even in the screenplay language of modern film. Every clipped exchange in a Scorsese movie, every terse voiceover in a Fincher thriller, that DNA begins here. And beneath it all lies a deep empathy, hidden under the hardness. Hammett writes like a man who knows too much about disappointment. He understands the gap between what we say and what we mean, the distance between our codes and our failures. His style captures that gap with precision. It's not the poetry of romance, it's the poetry of endurance. In the Maltese Falcon, language becomes both shield and confession. The characters talk to hide themselves, but their words betray them anyway. Every line carries two meanings, the one spoken and the one implied. The result is prose that feels alive with subtext, like a conversation overheard through a wall, muffled but magnetic. By the time the book ends, we realize that Hammett's true subject isn't crime or justice. It's expression itself, how people talk when they can't afford to tell the truth. The beauty of his style lies in that tension, what's said, what's unsaid, and what slips through in the silence between. Legacy and interpretation. When the Maltese Falcon was first published in 1930, few could have guessed how deeply it would shape the language of modern storytelling. It began as a serial in Black Mask magazine, a pulp publication, cheap paper, cheaper ink. But within those pages, Dashiell Hammett planted something immortal. He gave the detective novel a conscience. He gave American fiction a new way to speak. In the decades that followed, the Maltese Falcon evolved from pulp phenomenon to literary landmark. At first, it was embraced for its entertainment. Readers loved the grit, the action, the swagger. But then critics started listening closer. They noticed the rhythm, the precision, the moral complexity hiding inside that toughness. By mid-century, Hammett's name was being whispered alongside Hemingway and Fitzgerald, not because he wrote about crime, but because he wrote about people stripped bare of illusion. John Huston's 1941 film sealed the legend. Humphrey Bogart's Sam Spade became an icon. The trench coat, the cigarette, the calm stare that hides both knowledge and pain. The film captured Hammett's dialogue almost word for word, and in doing so, it turned noir into a cinematic language. Shadows became metaphors. Cigarette smoke became punctuation. The line, "The stuff that dreams are made of," became not just dialogue but philosophy, a quiet summation of the American condition. But the story's legacy didn't end in the 40s. Every noir film that came after, from Double Indemnity to Chinatown, from The Big Sleep to Blade Runner, borrowed from Hammett's grammar of moral fog. Even outside detective fiction, his fingerprints linger. You can hear echoes of his dialogue in Tarantino's films, in Sorkin's television scripts, in the quick exchanges of modern thrillers. The clipped rhythm, the ironic detachment, the sharp humor under pressure, it all traces back to Hammett's desk, to a man typing in the half-light of his San Francisco apartment. Academia caught up later, in the 1970s, when scholars began to take noir seriously. Marxist critics read the Maltese Falcon as an allegory of capitalist disillusionment, a world where everything, even trust, has a price tag. Feminist critics revisited Brigid O'Shaughnessy as both victim and rebel, the woman forced to weaponize emotion because power would never grant her honesty. Queer theorists examined Joel Cairo and Wilmer as coded reflections of marginalized desire, caricatured. Yes, but undeniably present in an era that erased queer existence from polite literature. Every generation finds a new falcon to chase inside Hammett's story. In the 1930s, it was the lure of wealth. In the 1950s, moral order. In the 1980s, postmodern irony. Today, readers see the novel as a study in performance, a world where identity itself is an act, where truth is a costume worn for survival. It's astonishing how a story written nearly a century ago still feels so contemporary. Even Hammett's life became part of the myth. After writing only a handful of novels, he abandoned fiction altogether. He joined leftist causes, served in World War II, and later refused to testify before Senator McCarthy's committee during the Red Scare. He was blacklisted, jailed briefly, silenced. But his silence became a kind of extension of his art, principled, private, unbending. Like Spade, he followed his own code, even when it cost him everything. That defiance gave his work a moral afterlife. When later writers, Raymond Chandler, Ross MacDonald, James Ellroy, picked up his torch, they didn't just imitate his style, they wrestled with his ethics. Chandler called him the man who wrote scenes that seem never to have been written before. Ellroy described him as the first stylist of moral collapse. Even Joan Didion cited Hammett's precision as an influence, saying that his sentences taught her the rhythm of American thought. There's also a quieter legacy, the way readers feel after finishing The Maltese Falcon. You close the book, and there's this strange mixture of admiration and emptiness. You've followed every lie, every betrayal, every glimmer of hope, only to end in a room with a fake bird and a man who refuses to weep. But that's the point. Hammett doesn't give closure because life rarely does. His realism isn't about detail, it's about aftermath. Today, the novel lives in two worlds at once. In one, it's studied in classrooms as literature. In the other, it's alive in pop culture, whispered through generations of anti-heroes, detectives, and loners who light one last cigarette before walking into the rain. It's not nostalgia that keeps it alive, it's recognition. We still live in a world of facades, false idols, and private codes. The Falcon might be fake, but the hunger that drives people toward it is very real. That's why Hammett still matters. He showed that moral clarity doesn't come from solving mysteries, it comes from facing the fog without flinching. His legacy isn't the bird, or the detective, or even the genre. It's the reminder that style can be a form of truth, and that even in a corrupt world, words can still mean exactly what they say.